The rain came down like nails from the sky, cold, violent, endless. At exactly 11:43 p.m., Dexter Assay dropped his wife's suitcase onto the sidewalk in front of their neighbors and slammed the door in her face. She was 8 months pregnant, barefoot, shivering, no phone, no purse, no car keys, just a thin dress soaked through by October rain and a plastic bag holding 3 maternity dresses she had bought with her own money. Inside the house, the porch light went dark, and behind that locked door, another woman was waiting for him. Benny stood frozen on the sidewalk for several seconds, unable to breathe. 7 years of marriage, gone in one sentence. This is not your home anymore. The words echoed louder than the thunder. Cars splashed water onto the curb as she walked. 1 block, then 2, then 5. Rainwater ran down her legs. Her swollen feet burned against the freezing pavement. Every step felt like labor already beginning. But she kept walking. Because humiliation hurts, but staying where you are unwanted hurts more. 9 blocks later, she saw a porch light glowing through the storm. 1 small, yellow light in the darkness. She climbed the steps slowly and knocked. Once. No answer. She knocked again, harder this time. The door creaked open. An elderly black woman stood there in slippers and a faded house robe. Silver hair tied tightly into a bun. Sharp eyes softened by age and wisdom. She looked first at Benny.
All of it. How she had supported Dexter while he built his career. How she paid rent during the early years. Typed his reports. Hosted dinners for his clients. Cooked for his co-workers. Smiled through every sacrifice while he slowly erased her name from everything they owned. The house, only in his name. The bank accounts, his name. The Audi, his name. Every year Dexter earned more money, and every year he treated her like she mattered less. Then came Cassandra Mills, the younger woman, the perfume on the pillows, the necklace Benny never received, the lies, the humiliation, and finally, the lock change. You have 10 minutes to pack. That was what Dexter told his pregnant wife before throwing her out into the storm. When Benny finished speaking, the kitchen fell silent. Then Willis stood up slowly and disappeared into the back bedroom. Moments later, she returned carrying an old shoebox sealed with yellowing tape. She placed it carefully on the table. Inside were 12 envelopes, each labeled in elegant handwriting. Chedinman Wee personal recipes, not for sale. Benny's hands began shaking. That was her grandmother's name. Her grandmother, Chedinma, had worked as a cook decades earlier in the same company Dexter now managed. And hidden inside those envelopes was an inheritance far more valuable than money? Recipes, handwritten, precious, sacred, groundnut soup.
His pregnant belly, then her bare feet, then the trembling plastic bag in her hand. And without asking a single question, she stepped aside. Come in. That woman's name was Willa Mae Saunders. And that night would change both of their lives forever. Inside the tiny kitchen, Willa wrapped towels around Benny's shoulders and feet. The house smelled like ginger tea and old wood. Safe, warm. The kind of warmth Benny had not felt in years. Not even in her own marriage. The clock on the wall read 12:07 a.m. For several minutes, neither woman spoke. Then Willa finally asked quietly, "When is the baby due?" 5 weeks, Benny whispered. Willa nodded once. No pity. No shock. Just understanding. Sleep first, she said. Talk tomorrow. That night, for the first time in months, Benny slept without fear. No husband standing silently in the doorway watching her. No bedroom door locked from the outside. No voice calling her dramatic, emotional, difficult. Just silence. Peaceful silence. But while Benny slept, Willa stayed awake in the kitchen until nearly 2 a.m. And before going to bed, she made one phone call. A call that would eventually destroy Dexter Osair's entire world. The next morning, sunlight poured through the kitchen window as Benny finally told the truth.
The courtroom was silent the day everything collapsed. Benny sat beside her attorney holding the same folder Dexter accidentally packed into her suitcase the night he threw her out. Inside it, 7 years of receipts, proof of every sacrifice she made for that marriage, every grocery bill, every utility payment, every contribution. The judge reviewed every page carefully, then finally looked up. Emergency spousal support granted. Temporary possession of the marital home granted. Financial investigation approved. Dexter ordered to vacate within 48 hours. The same man who once threw his pregnant wife into the rain now sat frozen in court with nowhere left to hide, because the evidence that destroyed him was the evidence he handed her himself. 14 months later, a restaurant opened in Charlotte's West End. 28 seats, warm lighting, open kitchen, and above the entrance, carved into reclaimed wood, were 3 simple words: Chidinma's Table. Benny stood in that kitchen every morning, with her daughter strapped gently against her chest. Her daughter's name, Ada Chidinma, named after the grandmother whose recipes saved them both. The restaurant became more than a business. It became healing, a place where forgotten people were fed, seen, remembered. Every month, Benny invited struggling women into her kitchen and taught them how to cook. Not just food, dignity, strength, survival. And on the wall beside the kitchen hung a framed black and white photograph of Chidinma herself. Below it, a gold plaque read, "She fed everyone. She forgot no one." As for Dexter, his career disappeared. His reputation collapsed. His mistress vanished. And the woman he once called a burden became the foundation of something unforgettable, because some people mistake kindness for weakness until the day they discover they were standing on the shoulders of the person they tried to destroy. Wedding jollof rice, pepper soup for healing, secret suya spice blend. Every card carried tiny handwritten notes in the margins. More ginger in winter. Never rush the peanuts. The burnt rice is the reward. Benny broke down crying at the kitchen table, not from grief, from recognition, from finally feeling seen again. And then Willis said something she would never forget. Your grandmother didn't leave you money. She left you power. Over the next few weeks, something inside Benny began waking up. She started cooking again. At first slowly, painfully, like reopening an old wound. But her hands remembered what her heart had buried. The kitchen came alive. The smell of cayenne and onions filled the house. Groundnut soup simmered for hours. Jollof rice crackled at the bottom of the pot exactly the way her grandmother taught her. And when people tasted the food, They went silent. Word spread across Charlotte faster than anyone expected. Church groups talked. Neighbors whispered. Women called cousins. Then came orders. 22 plates the first week, 37 the second, 51 the third. Soon strangers were lining up outside Willa's small house with cash in their hands. Meanwhile, Dexter believed he had one until the audit began. Quietly, without warning, a records clerk named Pauline Achebe had spent weeks uncovering fraudulent expense reports tied to Dexter's accounts. Fake vendors, missing money, corporate theft hidden behind expensive suits and confidence miles. $87,000 gone. On Thursday afternoon, Dexter arrived at work and swiped his badge at the building entrance. Red light. Denied. He tried again. Denied. The security guard looked him dead in the eye. Mr. Assay, you are not authorized to enter. And for the first time in years, Dexter felt powerless. Let me know what you think of this story in the comment.